One of our own here at CJAD, Egbert Gaye, suddenly died last night, heart attack, 67 years of age. Now, I've been here roughly 12, 13 years, never met Egbert.
No way.
Not once, never crossed paths. He was working in mornings, I was working in afternoons. I'd never,
See, he's one of the first people I met because I started off doing the Gang of Four with Tommy. And so I was frequently on with Egbert. And then when I took over that time slot, Egbert was a panelist on my show on middays.
So despite that, we know he was a huge influence here, certainly in the Black and Caribbean communities. Our own Maya Johnson, CTV News anchor, Maya Johnson, was one of those people very much affected by his death today because he had a big role apparently in her life. Maya's on the line. Hi, Maya.
Hi, Aaron and Natasha.
Hi.
So, it's a sad, sad day, of course. When we were told that you'd actually known Egbert and he'd been playing an important role in your life, from what perspective, Maya?
Yeah, I guess I should just start by saying that this is one of those days where the news is personal. We're covering this as a news story, but for me, it's more than that. I am grieving personally the loss of Egbert Gaye because he was instrumental in my start in journalism. And I'm someone who likes to hold on to things. So I was going through a box this morning and I found my very first byline in the Community Contact. February 27th, 2003, I was a CJAD student and I already knew for sure that I wanted to go into journalism and study journalism at university. And Egbert was one of the first people to give me a platform for my writing. And he was just the kind of person who was so devoted to fostering potential and talent in the community. Whenever there was a young, aspiring journalist who wanted to write, who wanted to go into broadcasting, Egbert was there for them, giving them space, encouraging them, celebrating their achievements, profiling them in the paper, when they reached a career milestone, as he did for me so many times throughout my career, whether it was when I went to Quebec City and became bureau chief. When I first started anchoring, there would always be a picture and a write-up in the paper because Egbert was so proud, and it was just always interesting to see that, he was writing about me when I started writing for him. I always used to call him boss. Hey, boss, how you doing, boss? And he was just such a laid-back, easy-going guy, and it was really always a pleasure to work with him, for him. He had a great sense of humor. And, forgive me, it's difficult to find the words because I'm still in shock. I was just truly stunned by the news this morning, as so many in the community are, because, as was mentioned in the newscast earlier, he and that paper, the Community Contact, they're a pillar. They're an institution in the community, so important for the Black community, so important for the Caribbean community in this city. And he just was hands-on in every aspect of that newspaper, publishing, editing, writing, delivering. He did it all. And, one of my friends sent me a text this morning. She said he was like a community father figure. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was such a great description. He really was. And that newspaper was his baby.
As I heard you say that you kind of look in this box because this is a personal, tragedy as well for you because you knew him. That's 20 years ago, Maya, right?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So 20 years ago when I was just a student, very green, didn't know much about journalism, and he was there, always encouraging me and giving me a place to share what, the stories that I wanted to cover, and in such a variety of ways. I would cover hard news stories, I would cover feature stories, but I would also tell personal stories. I would write opinion pieces, first-person perspective pieces, and no matter what I pitched to him, he always said, yes, do it. He really allowed us a chance to express ourselves and talk about the issues that were important to us. And I'm so grateful for that opportunity.
I'm thinking how many other people have stories just like yours, Maya. Like, so I know him from here at CJAD, but his offices were also around the corner, like very close to where I live. So I used to just bump into him all the time, right? With his van, and he's hauling newspapers in and out.
Exactly.
Like, he's working so hard, and he's doing it all with a smile, and everyone who walks by knows him. And the impact that this man has had, that's his legacy. And your story, I mean, how many, like, definitely dozens, if not potentially hundreds of people have stories like yours to tell, Maya.
Oh, there are just countless stories. I'm one of but a few. I mean, as I said, I got a text from a friend earlier this morning, and she was just one of several people that I've been in touch with throughout the day. We all have stories, whether we worked for him, with him, or whether, they're friends who aren't in journalism but just read the newspaper because it's such an instrumental part of the community. And he was a mentor and an advocate and a champion for us. And he became like a friend, really. Even though, of course, there was an age difference, and I describe him almost like a community father figure. He was a friend. When I got married, and we had a small celebration, a small ceremony in Quebec City, which is where I was living at the time, but we came back and threw a big party in Montreal, and he was there. And that was really special. And I was just looking at those pictures this morning. It's so surreal, but we had a very special relationship, and I'm so glad and grateful for it. And he deserves to be celebrated because he has done so much for this community, and he's just irreplaceable. There's no one like him.
Maya, thanks so much for reaching out and taking the time and saying those very, very kind words. And again, for people just tuning in now, we're speaking of Egbert Gaye, part of the CJAD family, passed away, Maya, from what we understand, last night?
Yes.
Last night.
That's right.
Age 67.
Yeah, so, and I just want to express my condolences to his family, to his wife, Elizabeth, to his son, Emar. This is obviously just devastating for them, and our thoughts are with them at this very difficult time.
Yeah, Maya, thanks so much.
Thanks,
appreciate
Maya.
it. CTV News anchor Maya Johnson.
Words.
Yeah,
beautiful words about a beautiful man who had such a huge impact.
And by the way, our text line is just filled with people, again, many of them, most of them, I guess, first of all, saddened and surprised at the same time because we had no idea. He was on the show last week with Elias,
Tuesday.
Right, on the Big Five.
Week,
Egbert Gaye, passing away, died of a heart attack last night at the age of 67.